Actions in PowerPoint provide you with another way to do both hyperlinks and animations, but they work in a slightly different way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on T-Row, and at this point T-Row is just normally hyperlinked to this T-Row slide at the bottom here. So I'm just going to remove that hyperlink by clicking Remove Link, and we're going to see a few things that you can do with an action. So you click on Action with an object selected, and the first thing you'll notice is that whereas hyperlinks can only happen on click, actions can actually happen on either click or mouse over. So mouse over is as soon as you roll the mouse onto an object. And you get the same options on both, so I'm only going to deal with mouse over, but just know that it works exactly the same with mouse click. So by default it's obviously set to none. You could then hyperlink. And this list looks a little bit different. If I want to go to a slide in this slideshow without having to pick one of these first, last, previous, or next, notice that you can also do last slide viewed, so that could be very useful. So it doesn't matter where you came from to get here. Say you have many different slides which link to this one, and in this case we do. All of these slides in this PowerPoint link back to this first one. So we could say hyperlink to last slide viewed. So let's try that, and remember it's going to be on mouse over. So we click OK. So let's say we use Rinky to go to the Rinky slide, and then we go home. If I now simply roll over T-Row, without even clicking, it's gone back to Rinky, because Rinky is where we had just come from. Now just bear in mind, I could set this to only do that when you click. If I was to now go and click on Hippo Key, we would go to the Hippo Key slide, and you could go home. Now if I roll over T-Row, it takes us straight back to Hippo Key. And the same, of course, can be said for all of these slides. So that can be an extremely useful thing to do in some circumstances if you really think about it. And when you use this in practice, you might not have it being one of these actual links like we do. But you could, for example, just have a little link in the corner which says, go back to the last slide that you viewed. You can also do things like, I'm just going to take out this hyperlink. You can play a sound. So you can go to the bottom here and load your own sound. And remember that that will need to be a WAV or an MP3. Or you can choose one of these sounds that comes with PowerPoint. So we have applause. So we click OK, and when we do a slideshow, every time we roll over T-Row, we get applause. And you can make your show a little bit more interactive by having different sounds for each one of these. Especially, for example, if you were doing a game with animals and animal sounds, that could be an incredibly easy and useful way to be able to set that up. One last thing, you can highlight when mouse over. So if we click OK, when we mouse over, you'll see that this button will shrink and then go back to its normal size. So very simply, actions can be very useful. It's actually a feature that a lot of people don't know about, but if you really give it some thought, you can find some incredibly useful ways to apply this to an interactive PowerPoint.